If you want to be sure that your last decade on this planet is filled with joy and energy and power rather than being stuck to your bed or not remembering your name or your kids' names, then this episode is for you, because we start the conversation around the three stressors and what around you is going to be totally taking away vitality as you age. And we find that as people discover the right way to detox, and it can be simple, like detoxing around your home, and we go through many ways you can detoxify your home in this episode. So this could be life or death. So don't turn away. Listen to it and share it and stick with it to the end. And this one will completely be one of your favorites. So welcome to the Freedom Alchemist podcast. This is Kate. She's going to be digging right in when she starts up. This is taken from one of our live trainings. So I hope you enjoy it. All right, don't forget to subscribe and all that. Enjoy.
Health and healing can be very easy, but you have to be committed to the process of it. And so starting now is the way forward. What we want everyone to know is that every single disease, every single ailment, every single pain, whether it be, mental, physical, basically they all come down to three core stresses. And if you look at it this way, you can get to the root cause so much easier. And the three stresses are...
Drum roll, please.
Environmental, which is what we're covering today. And then emotional, which is what we're going to cover next week. And then physical, which we will be covering in week 3. These three stresses are the cause of every ailment we know to man. And all of the fancy names and all of the fancy medications are just there to confuse. When you bring it down to this level of simplicity, you can find the root cause and heal yourself forever. And we believe that to be true. Now, some of us have gotten really far in a way of body breaking down. That doesn't mean you can't heal. It just means you have a longer journey ahead, and you have to start and be really all in as soon as possible. You can't just test the waters and think about it. You got to just go, right? And so we're gonna share today the things that you can take into your life right away to start making a difference. And they're going to be things that you can't Google about because it's not something that they want everybody to know.
You won't be able to, some of these answers you won't be able to find.
Yeah. So let's just drop in a little bit. We're going to do a couple of breaths, and then we're going to tell you why we believe this is so important and why we want everybody in the world to know about this, and especially in America, right? So what we're going to do is just do a couple of parasympathetic sighs. Now, the reasoning behind this is you just do 3 of them, and it's going to calm your autonomic nervous system.
Yeah, dogs do this when you watch your dog just literally go, and kids do it.
Babies especially.
And if you want to move yourself super quickly out of a stressful situation or response, do a few of those breaths. Inhale sharp again, and then just...
You have to have an audible sigh at the end. It can't just be You gotta There is a reason. It triggers the brain. It does all sorts of things.
It's mostly about that second inhale that goes and you want it fully, and then you can just sigh it out. No.
The sigh. It is listen to Huberman.
Okay.
Yes, it's all
audible,
about.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very, very important.
There's something I did not know.
Yeah, and then you know how so Ollie and Paul would. Ollie is our oldest.
My 21-year-old.
They had this thing there's the KSS, and it's called the Katie signature sigh, because I wander around the place and I'll be sighing, and they were always what's wrong? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
She's doing the Huberman Lab approach.
I'm stoked, it's just me processing and moving energy through, and it's really it does create a lot of peace in your life when you audibly sigh. Yes. So we're gonna take a couple of breaths. So shall we do 6 just for fun?
Okay,
ready?
Close your eyes.
Let's go. What should we say?
Ah. Ah. Ah.
Was that 6?
That's 5.
One more. Let's go. Yes.
Try that next time somebody cuts you off. or you're feeling road rage. Just be like, it'll instantly move you into your relaxed, into your rest and digest, and not a fight or flight.
Mm-hmm. And it's something you can do at any point, anywhere. So it's a great tool to have.
You should probably be feeling at least 3% better right now.
At least, like I would say, like 20. But do 10 in a row. See the magnificent change. So that is a little tool. Have in your tool belt that you can pull out at any time. Guess what, guys? If we can control our breath, we can control how we react in our emotions. And that is literally the only thing we can control in this world, is how we react and our emotions to how we react. So if you can get control of your breath, you can have power no matter what the situation. So breathwork is a big thing we talk about a lot. Anyway, let's get into all of this juiciness. And so what we want you to know, like why this conversation matters and why we want so many people to know about it, is we are in this crisis moment. And in the past, when we've spoken about this, we've maybe been thrown into like areas of like theorists. I'm not going to say the C word in front of it, but
the C word.
Because
conspire. We would be conspiring with the enemy if we even talk about trying to help people get better. or
however, right now in the White House, in all sorts of comments, and this has been happening for not just in this presidency, it was happening for 6 months, the past 6 months. It has really been brought to the attention of in these rooms of creating powerful change, of how toxic America has become. And this is worldwide, but particularly America. And why this matters so much is our children are suffering. Now, everyone here either has children, has grandchildren, has nieces or nephews, knows children, right? And if any of you are suffering any amount of pain or suffering in your lives, why would you, and that maybe happened from your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s on, why would you want children in their teens or younger to be suffering the same amount of pain that you're suffering in your later life? And that is why this is important. Children are suffering in a way they have never suffered. And that's why we want you to share this conversation. We want you to get it out to every single person you know, because it can change a life. And it matters. And it's so simple, the sort of things that you can do. You can go way more in depth. We're going to do the simple things here. You want to go in depth, we can talk about that later. But let me give you some stats just to kick it off as to why this is the most important conversation to have right now when it relates to our children, right? So this was, I'm quoting directly from a White House press conference. Dr. Mark Hyman gave a speech. As you know, he's a functional doctor that we work with because he is one of the best. He is one of the knowns. He has also stayed very neutral in terms of like... He's
managed to stay out of both sides of the politics. It was Congress. It wasn't White House. It was Congress. Yeah.
Okay. So he is fully committed to this and to the process of this, and so that's what and so he speaks a very clear truth backed up by science and statistics. So let me just share exactly what he said, kind of paraphrased as best as I can. He said that the modern American diet is predominantly composed of ultra-processed foods, which are high in sugar, starch, refined oils, and contains numerous additives. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has approved over 10,000 chemical additives for use in foods. However, only 43% of these additives have been reviewed for safety by the FDA, raising concerns about the potential health risks. Many of these additives permitted in the U.S. are banned or restricted in other countries due to the health concerns. For example, certain artificial foods, dyes, and preservatives linked to hyperactivity and behavioral issues in children are still used in the US but prohibited elsewhere. The consumption of ultra-processed foods, which often contain these additives, has been associated with various health issues in children, including obesity, type 2 diabetes, and behavioral problems. And
of those 10,000, Europe only has 330 of those that are allowed. Of the 10,000 that are banned,
330.
Is that of the 10,000 toxic chemicals that are in our food system that have been allowed there by the FDA, only 330 are allowed in the European Union, which is wild.
And that's alarming. And not only are these additives there, but it's on top of that, those additives that are illegal elsewhere is other like starches, fats, other things that compound. Seed oil, all of these things.
Some of the toxic ways that they actually, clean the food with different chemicals and bleaches and processes that they make the food safe is incredibly toxic in their approach.
Yeah.
It's just, we've gone so far away from what our parents and grandparents, even our parents, some of your parents or grandparents, how many of them do you know had chronic illness, diabetes, Alzheimer's? Alzheimer's is new. All of these diseases.
And everyone has it now. So, yeah.
And cancer. And even ALS, which took my dad out, which I want to just share. Some of you know the story of my dad, which is Kate and I have a really strong reason why we both are passionate about this, other than the children, is our fathers. Both of us had lost our dad to environmental toxins building up in the system, and had they both no one been able to detox, they would probably be alive in some way or another. I mean, of course, there's God's plan, and there's the way that life works, and had I known what I know now, I for sure would have started heavy metal detoxes on my dad's a decade earlier, and he would be alive. I know that without a doubt. Kate's dad's toxins in his lungs is a little bit different, was asbestos poisoning, but it was also environmental.
But there was an emotional aspect. So it was environmental and emotional. By the way, when you have something that develops into disease, it's usually because there's 2 or 3 stresses included
that combine together,
that create a toxic bomb within your system.
Because my dad's was a physical. He had all these heavy metals from welding, and his office was next to the smelting plant in Alaska for decades. And the smokestack was literally all the aluminum, cadmium, all the many different types of toxins plus heavy metals were going into his body, and his beautiful, smart body would store them away in the bone marrow, which is what our bodies do. They're amazing for hiding toxins. But then he was lifting an engine, and the engine was so heavy that it injured his back in a way. And that injury was acute enough that all of those metals released.
And that's the thing, our body is so intelligent that it hides all of these toxins, usually in fat stores, or in bone marrow, in different part of the body. So if you are dealing with weight and you're like, I've done all the diets, I've done anything, nothing's working, you're overloaded with toxins, and your body is fighting to keep it away from your vital organs.
That's right.
So basically, if you can't figure out why weight won't release, you're toxic, and your body's trying to protect you.
Yeah.
That's one of the main reasons. Another is emotional. We'll get into that another day. But basically, you need to understand what toxic loads are. And also with all of these things, hang on, no, I don't want to, let me go back to where you were. But with these things seem like massive. Oh yeah, he's a welder. That's obvious. Heavy metal.
Yeah.
Oh, asbestos. That's obvious. No, it's not obvious. And even just the plastic in your home, like the way that we're exposed to microplastics is insane. So we're going to go through those sorts of things for those that aren't welders, for those that don't have these environmental hazardous areas, or your dentists or whatever. You would be amazed how many dentists have really big issues. So,
and this isn't to scare you. This is to give you some awareness. It's not an ostrich moment. It's not best to just put your head in the sand and hope for the best. Just look around you at how many people you know have cancer. It is going to be 1 in 2 soon. How many have neurological disorders? It is on the rise like an insane hockey stick. And so there's something happening with this amazing human species that our systems are not able to handle the environmental toxins that we're throwing at it, because people are being taken out super young and super early by things, and it's on the rise.
Yeah.
And so,
and the cancers are getting more aggressive, more,
and younger. And so what Kate and I have a functional nutrition degree, and I took care of my body I did men's fitness covers when I was in my 20s. And I've been on this path of like health and well-being and fitness. And then when my dad got sick, it put me on like all just super focused on detoxing and understanding that. And I got my functional nutrition degree, and Kate has her master's in neurolinguistic programming, and she's a Tony Robbins trained strategic intervention coach. Just for some of you who don't know us, you're just like, we just kind of ripped into sharing, but that's who we are. And who we are for you guys is that you get your life, that you get your energy, that you have your relationships thriving, but you wake up in the morning and you can go, yes, another day. And sometimes clearing out some of these toxins in the brain fog, it sometimes is like from your environmental and the food you're eating, and often it's also emotional, which Kate's really good at helping you discover.
I love that stuff. And the power of your mind, and like how we can heal from things that just don't make any logical sense. So I love that. But I just want to say one of my favorite things also
about me. No. Sorry.
Is when
our relationship program.
Is when our clients come back so excited because they made such a huge impact with what they now know in their body as knowledge, that they literally saved someone's life.
Yeah.
And we are getting more and more of those. They come back to us and they tell us this, and they literally were able to share something that saved somebody else's life. And so this is why we're so passionate about this.
That's
and
true.
We care about this. Let us just circle back to some of the things, like why with our children, why you guys need to know this. You need to pass this on to anybody you know that has children, that has grandchildren, because shoving the grandkiddies like some extra candies is like you're killing them these days. You don't know that. You're not doing them a favor. You're actually hurting them. So we want everyone that has any access to children to have access to this work and this knowledge. So let us just tell you a couple more stats before we go with children. We are looking at autism now. In the 80s, it was 1 in 10,000 children had autism. Today, it is 1 in 36. That is outrageous. And in California, it's 1 in 22.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of factors. We're not going to go into all
Some
of those.
we can't talk about.
We can't talk about all of them, but food, guys, and what we have in our homes is very important. These are the things that we're going to teach you, share with you, so that you can start making an action plan with that. Type 2 diabetes is now huge in children. 40% of American children are overweight, and 20% are obese in their teens. This is horrendous, which is, of course, leading to diabetes, type 2 diabetes, which is curable, but most people don't know how, right? And so, and then ADHD is up 800%. Don't tell me that's a coincidence, right? So if you want your children to have a shot at not being on medication for the rest of their lives, listen in and share this conversation with anyone that will listen. So now that, so that's just a couple of the stats, but, this is why it really matters. It really matters to us, especially as parents of a 3-year-old, and we're seeing what's happening in the world. So let's get this out. Let's save the children.
Yeah, and it's definitely an American thing. You go to Japan, the obesity is less than 1%. You do not see a single obese person. And anywhere. It's culture shock when you come back. So this country is on the wrong path and has been for several decades, literally since the early 70s when ultra-processed food was introduced and low-fat food was introduced. So there's look around. You can it's not in the, as it's currently going, it's not in the getting better, the trajectory of this country. So it is up to you to make a stand and to do your research and to start to go, okay, the government ain't coming for you. The government's not going to help you reverse your diabetes, your obesity, and that this is something that you have to arm yourself with wisdom and knowledge and take some steps and surround yourself with people that are also committed to living a life of good, pure, like energy, having vitality. And a lot of it is getting the toxins out of your home and out of your body so that you can not have the brain fog and so that you can actually think straight.
And have energy to go move your body. You know, when you're feeling under the weather, you're feeling sick, you're feeling not well, the last thing you want to do is move your body. And then your body atrophies, you know? So it's like, that's not what we want. We want you full of energy, full of vitality, spring awakened.
Yes.
So let's go, and we're going to go into a couple of things that you can do immediately in your home that's going to start shifting this conversation.
Yes.
So here's one of the easiest.
And we're just going to give you little snacks, because with each one of these is a big module in some of our program that we take people through.
And it's a whole conversation.
We're just going to give you like the introduction to how ways you can detox your home and just to bring some awareness around the stuff in your house.
So here's a really easy one that anyone can do immediately, and it's free. Okay. No shoes in the house. Why? You are walking lead. You are walking toxins.
The concrete and the black tarmac is filled with heavy metals too. The black, so that's coming. The petroleum chemicals, everything, not just the bacteria from everyone's dog poop, but that all of that. A lot of it is just the concrete, and what's in the concrete is quite a lot of toxins that you drag into your carpet. And do you think your little vacuum gets it out? Your vacuum just kind of spits it around, makes you feel a little better about yourself. But how many of you really think your vacuum is cleaning your carpet? It's taking dust and moving it around a bit and leaving behind this nice little swirl on your carpet, and some of it goes in the canister, but it ain't getting all that heavy metal.
And even if you have wood floors, tile floors, all this sort of stuff, all of that is being tracked into your home all the time. And even if you're neurotic about cleaning, you can't get it all. It goes into your air, then you're breathing it. It's continuous. All of the chemicals, everything. So just take your shoes off have a little shoe stand and take your shoes off as soon as you come in and out.
Canadians do this well. Canadians never wear their shoes. It's always wet. Mud. It's always so But that's how you spot a Canadian, other than a hockey stick in their car.
Yeah, so that's a really simple one that you can just, put a little sign up. Sometimes you just have to train people too. Like if any tradesmen come through your home, hey, sorry, you got to wear your booties or you got to take your shoes off. Like sometimes they grumble, but you can make it happen. So so that's a really simple one that you can do right away. You want to check your water quality. I just especially anyone in LA right now, we are having, all of the oceans are very full of chemicals and toxins. We walk along the beach and it is black. All of the stuff from the fires, if you think about everything that burned, if you imagine burning one Tupperware container and how disgusting that would smell and the chemicals that get leached into the air, think about all the carpets, all of every single thing in all of those homes that was burnt, and
batteries, whatever it is,
and what is it? Asbestos. There's so many chemicals that are so toxic.
So a lot of the homes were very old, so they would have heaps of asbestos in them.
So that is all washing into the waterways with all the rains, and then we're consuming it. So obviously
you're talking about water.
Yeah. So and then we're not just consuming it, we're showering in it, we're bathing in it, all that sort of stuff. So this isn't just LA, this is everyone. Obviously LA is dealing with it on a much
crisis,
bigger scale right now because of what just happened. But every single home, your water is traveling through rusty pipes, through the sludge, through buildup, through.
So you can get a good filter, you can get a good shower head. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and the shower heads, we know great ones that are like $30. $30
to $40, and they make your pressure amazing, and they have several different filters of different minerals in them that have your water come out, not just softer, but And so those little, even on our bathtub, we have a little ball that the water goes through and filters so that we're not just sitting in that water. You know, the water's recycled when our baby is not just sitting in that. We have a 3-year-old. So yes, the water, it's kind of gross to think about, but your water when you shower goes down to be in the shower, whatever there goes on in the shower. That goes into a system and gets cleaned. And it gets recycled, and you later comes back to your house, like as it knocking on the door. It's like, is it me again? It's like everyone's system is a little different. Like every city system is a little different, but most of them are very outdated. They don't have a lot of resources to make sure that the drinking water, because there's standards of lead and all these different things in the water, and pharmaceutical drugs that are allowed back to recycle through the water. They don't even measure for those. And so with every single person in the States being on 5 to 6 pharmaceutical drugs, that also gets washed back into the system of the waters through the toilets, through the showers, and then it comes back and you're drinking it. So you can definitely make sure that the water, your skin's your largest organ, it absorbs everything. Make sure that you at least have a shower head that has a good filter on it, and change the little filters in it.
And Brita filters really don't cut it if that's what
you're talking about drinking water.
We're talking about both, right? So water throughout your home. So
they're better than nothing. They're better than nothing.
But
Brita, if you're
really, like your health is so important. Like put a budget aside every week to find even certain ceramic filters are heavy. We have a Nikon Japanese filter that I've had for 25 years, that you just keep changing the filters to. So there's certain systems that you can get that really, you want a system that takes out the particles in the water, that you have to clean regularly. So it's usually a ceramic or some type of filter that takes out the particles. And then the same system needs to take out the fluoride, the chemicals, all of the things that they clean the water with. You want those to all be taken. So that's usually silk and sand type filters, and then something that rebuilds the water, so mineral stones, things like that, to remineralize it so that you can get and blessing water actually makes a difference. Water has memory, so when it comes to all these rusty, yucky old pipes, it's having that memory. So so even having a water filter where you have a sticker on it that says love, or ours says energy for life on our water. You want messaging on your filters. It sounds woo-woo and weird, but it is the truth. There's
a doctor, a Japanese guy. No,
that's a different one.
Dr. Emoto has a book called Not Your Body's Many Cries for Water. He has a book called Water. What's it called?
Life or something?
Life. And he photographs the water molecules frozen, and some of them they were said, I love you, and the crystal's this beautiful snowflake, and other ones are said hate and Hitler and all these different words. And the molecules of the water was completely, it's a type of Russian photography called Cyrillian photography or something. And there's a whole book from Dr. Emoto about the molecules of water. So you taking a moment with your food, that's why blessing your food's important, because your food's mostly water. It's made up of water. And you can
change the way the chemicals react to your body by blessing it, by thanking the farmers, thanking everything that got you there, thanking the sun and the minerals, and how it reacts with your body and gives you strength, things like that. We have that's a beautiful prayer that we have with our meal, and it matters. It matters. Our words create our life. Our words create our world, and so we want to be thinking about, if we're consuming something, how do we consume it with a level of presence and love
and gratitude, for sure. Just the word thank you. You should see how beautiful. Just look it up when we go off of here. Look up water molecule thank you, and it'll bring up all the photographs of Dr. Emoto, and you'll be like, holy, and then you'll see it for yourself. The hidden messages in water. There's another book too. I have it. It's right here. I'm surprised I don't travel with that one. That would be one that there's a couple books I travel everywhere with.
I know. Your bowel book. That's a whole nother thing. Okay, so plastics. Let's go into plastics. Even I think, was it the 70s when the Tupperware parties became a thing, and everybody got their plastic Tupperwares, and everything became easier because you had your plastic Tupperwares.
It's like multi-level. My mom hosted those parties all the time.
I think most people did, right? We're just starting to understand just how much of a hormone disruptor it is, how toxic they are. And I'm talking, because I've been really diving into perimenopause, postmenopause, menopause, because of how I can further help all of our clients. And one of the major causes that keeps you in menopausal inflammation, where you're having the hot flushes and you're having all of the side effects of what happens in menopause, is plastics can really, really create more of that, have it be much more painful than it needs to be. And I'm talking about every time a piece of plastic is heated. So every time you put plastic in your dishwasher with all your plates, it leaches microplastics onto all of your plates, which you're then eating off and digesting again. So it's not just when you're using the plastic container, it's when it's in your dishwasher and it's mixed in with all of your other cups and plates. It is. So basically, do not put any plastic in your dishwasher.
Right.
Any of those takeaway coffees that you buy is lined with plastic.
Yeah, you think, because if it was just paper cup with wax or something, that hot water would melt the living daylights out of it. So when you go in the morning to get your beautiful Starbucks or whatever, that lining in there has about 37 different chemicals that you don't want blazing into your body with heat. And I know it sounds like, and listen, we're very specific, because everything you do every day adds up, and at a certain point you get enough toxins, your body's your genes will switch, and you'll express some chronic illness. And that's why anything you do every single day, you have to make sure you're bringing some presence to it. And so just bring your own takeaway cup if you need your coffee when you're going out, because and listen, you might think we're crazy, but like I said, how many people do you know have cancer? This conversation is very relevant. If everyone were healthy, we would just be sitting here being like, oh, we're nuts, but we're not. Everyone is sick. Yeah. So something's going on, and we want you to become a detective in your own life. And this is life insurance. If you bring some presence now to this moment, you can guarantee your 7th, 8th, 9th decade aren't you forgetting your kids' names or not knowing where you are.
Pooping in a bag or whatever it is, not being able to move.
That's intense.
That's what we're looking at. This is what it is. I'm just going to be real here.
Yeah, this is prevention time. So you might think it's a little overkill, like worrying about your takeout coffee, but I promise you, it's because you're doing it every day, over years, over decades. It adds up, and at a certain point, your organs are like, that's enough.
And what I want to just go into something you said about it's the little things every day. Now, there's the odd person that'll be like, oh, there's only this much when in the coffee, or the cup, there's only this, or you haven't done your research.
Where are they from, that person?
I don't know. That's how I read their comments. Trying to be all knowledgeable and fighting for something that's killing them.
Arguing for your
limitations. Yep. Yeah. So, but what we want you to know is plastic, microplastics and nanoplastics and PFO, all of these forever chemicals are not just things that you have in your home. They're everywhere at all times. And, the additives in your food as well. It's this is safe in this amount of consumption, but you do it every day. It is absolutely not safe. The amount of lead, mercury, toxins, all of this stuff is absolutely not safe once your body gets to a certain level. And that's why mold toxicity is so chronic right now. It's not because mold is way worse now than it used to be. Mold is still bad, but it's because our body's toxic load is over. It's done. It's tapped out with the amount of microplastics and chemicals and all of the things that we're consuming when we don't want to be, or we don't even know. And so this is why we want you to do these things in your home, so that you are limiting your toxic load. We're going to remove the toxic load, so that when you're getting the onslaught of toxins just when you're walking around, not in your home, that your body can deal with that. Now, our body is extraordinary. It is built to deal with these things, but not in the level
it has a limit,
that is happening in today's day and age, which is why young people are getting early onset dementia, which is why children are dying faster of cancer, which is why all of these issues are prolific now. And it's because our bodies aren't designed to deal with this level of toxins. And anything you do daily, like Paul said, just keeps amassing in your body. And that's like, seed oils. It's all of this stuff. So anything plastic should never be heated ever. Not in a microwave, absolutely not. You should get rid of your microwaves. Like there's nothing healthy about microwaves. You can heat things up in a pan, guys. It's not that hard. And anything that's a microwave meal, stay away from it. You should not be touching that stuff ever. If you care about your health, don't go near it. Get rid of it. Ditch the microwave totally. I wish I could say ditch the phone, because it's like having a microwave carrying around on your body, but hey, we're all addicted to them these days. But it's because of that level of inflammation carrying around on you, we got to ditch all these other things, and we got to be kind of neurotic about it in a way. And I'm not a neurotic person. I'm a passionate, excited person.
Yes, you are.
Not neurotic.
Yes, you are. So let's move to some solutions. You can get really good quality HEPA filters that will help, because your carpet's off-gassing, your mattress is off-gassing, and you're inhaling all these forever chemicals that has come in your brand new car and your brand new furniture. So having a really good quality filter, or 3 in your house, around your house, like purifying your air, is something you can do, because it's getting rid of some of the mold and the VOCs as well. And of course, we mentioned you can have filters on your water. All these things are very big endocrine disruptors, which for some of you ladies will make your experience of menopause or perimenopause a lot worse when your endocrine system is taxed.
And just feeling crappy and like sluggish and anxious. All of these things can be resolved.
Symptoms of anxiety could definitely come from taking your foot off the gas and putting on the brake of some of this toxic load, for sure. So let's get you.
And then pans, guys. Not like one scratch on a non-stick pan can release millions of nanoparticles of chemicals, forever chemicals that stay in your body, go into your blood-brain barrier. Like, it is not worth it. No,
there's a really good way to work with stainless steel. It takes some patience and
stainless steel and
the iron skillets, but stainless steel works too. There's you have to get it to a certain temperature before you add your food to it, and you put a little water droplet on the stainless steel, and once it starts to pop around, then you can put a little bit of oil, and then even an egg will not stick to it. It's learning how these things work, and iron skillets and stainless steel are the safe pans that you can use. But they require, you can't just crank it up and hope for the best. You actually have to season your iron skillet with oils to make it have a barrier so that you can cook on it. And
guess what?
It tastes better.
Guess what? For those of you I can't throw out my nice Teflon pans. Yes, you can, because your health matters more than whatever it costs for that. And when you go to good thrift stores that have the old vintage stuff, all of it is iron skillets and stainless steel pans, and all things that were, that are actually better for you. And you can pick them up and just start there and then slowly build up. You don't have to go out and buy a super expensive brand new set. You can start in those. So your health matters more than having pretty looking pans that are can really have a huge impact. And when everyone's like, how did this cancer happen, or how did this happen, I don't know, it's this is what we're talking about, this toxic buildup of all of these things that we think are okay. I mean, it's it's just this, it's not a big deal. It's unfortunately it is, because of what's in our food, what's in our water, what's in our environment, what's in outside. It's just too much on the body. And that's why detoxing is so important. And we're going to go into that in week 3.
That type of detox for sure. And we guide people through those as a part of our program. But if you have a neighbor that you don't like, or you just don't want them around, in the future, just give them your pants, your Teflon pants, and just say, here, I thought you could use some nice, expensive Teflon pants. And then a good maybe a decade, they won't even remember that they're annoyed with you as your neighbor, and they'll stop harassing you because they will have dementia. So just give them your pants.
Now, something else super important that you can do immediately is do not sleep in synthetic sheets. Like, just don't do it. It is, I know it's like wrinkle-free and all these sorts of things, but you sleep hot, it is not good for you, and you are literally absorbing microplastics and chemicals as you sleep.
So organic cotton or bamboo is like a really great, and you feel so much better.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. And listen,
and
I know it
like
seems expensive, but you can go to, Marshalls and TJ Maxx, and sometimes there's amazing cotton sheets and no blends. No blend at all, just cotton, you can do silk sheets if you want. I find silk sheets a bit hot, but any natural fiber that has no blend is what you want.
Yeah.
Not even a 10%, so it is wrinkle free. Don't do any of that. Just keep all of those synthetics out of your bedroom. We spend half our lives in sleeping. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Eventually, you want to start looking at all of your clothes as well and do your best to get rid of all synthetic clothes. They stink after a while. They gather sweat and all sorts of things. They're bad for the environment. They wear out quickly. It's like throwaway clothes in a way. And I know even really expensive brands are trying to be really cheap with all of that. So again, thrift stores that like proper vintage ones have beautiful old school fabrics that have all these that is so much better for you. So let's recycle, reuse, not like kill our planet, and make sure our body is only, because if it's rubbing on you all day long, you better believe it is like creating inflammation in your body. So these are the things to start thinking about, and it's going to take a minute, right? You don't it's hard to go, okay, I'm going to get rid of all of the plastic in my kitchen, and then you can go and get glass Tupperware containers and things like that. There's things you can do, but it's maybe not an immediate thing and something you can build up.
Whatever your grandma used to have in the kitchen, that's what you kind of want to surround yourself with. Natural things that aren't
ceramics and
processed and made out of petrochemicals, out of oil. Literally, most of it's just made out of petroleum in some way, which is insanely carcinogenic. Especially, some of you have those cutting boards that are plastic, and every time you take your knife on them, you're shaving. The stat is almost, in this, you may not believe this, but we ingest close to a credit card's worth of plastic every month. And depending on how much plastic you have in your life, that's counting those PFOAs from your hot coffee cup. And so...
And it's going into our blood. It's crossing the blood-brain barrier. It's in our brains. It's in women's wombs. It's newborn babies have microplastics in them because it's in women's wombs.
All the fish does too. Yeah, it's wild. We're in a really interesting time. That it's important to move this out of your beautiful body so that you can enjoy your 7th, 8th, 9th decade of this time on this planet. This is crucial. You might be hearing this, and this conversation actually could save your life. And by save your life is who cares about longevity? You don't just want lifespan, you want health span. You want to be healthy in those years, and moving and playing with your grandkids and outside and doing fun things, not staring at some television locked up in a room because you can't move because you've eaten processed foods, and you just, all those toxins have finally hit a peak where your organ said, I can't deal with this anymore, and it triggers these chronic illnesses. So finding ways to detox yourself daily is really important, but the first place to look is stop putting them in, and that's what we're talking about here, by slowing down the aggressive onslaught from your environment.
Chemical cleaners. Guys, our grandmas used vinegar and bicarb soda, and guess what? Nothing cleans better than that.
We have a bunch of that in our kitchen.
It is not expensive. You can buy it in bulk, cleaning vinegar and huge things of bicarb soda. You can make your own concoctions.
That's baking soda for non-Aussies. Bicarb, sodium bicarb.
Get a little things of lavender essential oil, something so you can make them smell nice.
Yeah.
We use, we use like a little mixture about organic dish soap on our floors, mixed in with hot water. So there's ways in which you can clean your home and it be non-toxic and be good for you and cheaper than all of that crap that is full of ammonium and bleaches and stuff that is so toxic for your body.
Yeah.
So, and like lemons mixed in. There's this guy I follow that shows all these home remedies, and it's insane what it does. Like scrubs your pans. And it's the old way of being. And what I think is hilarious. is that the methods in which we healed for thousands of years is called alternative
quackery.
And quackery.
Like what's been around for tens of thousands of years, certain things, and now.
But petroleum, is the legit.
There's a wild video out there that how the Rockefellers influenced the American Medical Society and how they literally outlawed any natural practice of medicine that wasn't based in the pharmaceutical system. It is wild how they overtook the American Heart Association, and completely took over the agency capture, in a sense, from big oil, and how. It's a short documentary. It is knee buckling. Every time I see it, I was like, how does everybody not know that the American Heart Association and American Medical Association, all these agencies are captured by huge industry, and they control the laws that allow us that certain ways of healing yourself are called deemed quackery or illegal, or like home births are banned in some states. Banned.
Banned.
The balance of medical power remained equal until the turn of the century. Then new medical treatments emerged that were potentially very profitable. The AMA joined with strong financial forces to transform medicine into an industry. The fortunes of Carnegie, Morgan, and Rockefeller financed surgery, radiation, and synthetic drugs. They were to become the economic foundations of the new medical economy.
The takeover of the medical industry was accomplished by the takeover of the medical schools. Well, the people that we're talking about, Rockefeller and Carnegie in particular, came to the picture and said, we will put up money. They offered tremendous amounts of money to the schools that would agree to cooperate with them. The donors said to the schools, we're giving you all this money. Now, would it be too much to ask if we could put some of our people on your board of directors to see that our money is being spent wisely? Almost overnight, all of the major universities received large grants from these sources and also accepted 1, 2, or 3 of these people that I mentioned on their board of directors, and the schools literally were taken over by the financial interests that put up the money. Now, what happened as a result of that is that the schools did receive an infusion of money. They were able to build new buildings. They were able to add expensive equipment to their laboratories. They were able to hire top-notch teachers. But at the same time as doing that, they skewed the whole thing in the direction of pharmaceutical drugs. That was the efficiency in philanthropy. The doctors from that point forward in history would be taught pharmaceutical drugs. All of the great teaching institutions in America were captured by the pharmaceutical interests in this fashion. And it's amazing how little money it really took to do it.
Surgery became viable with anesthesia and infection control, and doctors advocated expensive, radical operations. These in turn produced the need for a large, lucrative hospital system. Radium fever swept medicine. The price of radium rose 1,000% almost overnight. Another costly technological industry entered the hospital system. A drug industry grew out of the booming patent medicine business. The doctors changed educational standards and licensing regulations to exclude the empirics. Soon, only AMA-approved doctors could legally practice medicine. In a brief 20 years, the AMA came to dominate medical practice. Organized medicine launched a media campaign to associate the empirics with quacks. The code word for competition was quackery.
So now the average doctor goes through school, he gets a great education, he has to be really smart to get through it, he learns all about drugs, he doesn't know too much about basic nutrition. I found that the average wife of these physicians knows more about nutrition than he does, but they sure know their drugs. And if you go to your typical doctor today, I don't care what it is, chances are you're going to walk out of there with a prescription. Why? Because that's what he has been trained to do.
Banned. So,
and so the last area that two more areas we want you to look at. So never, ever, ever do antibacterial washes for your hand or everything they made everyone do in COVID. What was that? Like
Alcohol.
That alcohol and hand wash. That takes out all of the protective barriers of the oils on your hands.
Your biome.
Which
You actually have a skin biome. You actually have a biome just like you do all over in your gut. You have it on your skin. So doctors, if you're doing surgery, you might want to get rid of all the bacteria in your hands before you enter your hands into another person's body. But if you're just talking about general health, you could give yourself hands a good wash with some hot water. And like if you have a soap that doesn't have alcohol in it or is not antibacterial, because you do need some form of microbes to actually keep a balance on your body to be healthy. You need the balance. If you're just the place you get sick the most is a hospital, because they're the most sterile, because when in that environment that if you want to get sick, you literally go to a hospital, because there's such an insane amount of bacteria that can run in these vacuums of these. So,
and not only that, they then feed you sugar to heal, which is like the thing that all disease feeds on. So I don't know, enjoy that Jello shot while you're getting sicker. Anyway.
Yeah, it's really wild. The hospitals, during COVID, if you had got sick, you would pretty much a death sentence to go to a hospital.
If you went to the hospital, yeah.
So you won't. If I'm really, really sick, you will not see me go to a hospital. I'll either start fasting or call a friend.
Fasting is one of the greatest ways.
But no, in hospitals, these incredible pathogens, they like take on, the whole wing will have to be shut down because there's a staph
infection.
Staph is running wild in a wing of a hospital. It's just like the way that you sterilize is that way of thinking from Louis Pasteur, and like what they did to our milk, what they've done over there. It's a scam, you guys. It's completely, people used to drink raw milk and raw dairy, and yes, you are going to get sick from some amount of it, but once they started pasteurizing and all of that, yes, in some situations it really did help, especially with surgeries with doctors. But like I saw this video on Austin's watching the early Sesame Street, right?
Like from the early
pilot,
1969.
Like the first one, 1969. And there's a guy milking a cow, and he takes the milk nipple and shoots it at his kid's face. And the kid's opening his mouth going like, like drinking the raw milk. This is in the 70s. And it's like, how many thousands of years did we drink cow's milk? And now we're like bleaching it. We're pasteurizing it. We're trying to add back a little bit of vitamin D and a little bit of K, and anyways. So you just don't want to sterilize yourself to a point where you don't have any natural bacteria that's working.
And children, another thing about children, you can tell I'm passionate about it. Everyone, like, we're all taught to over sterilize all their bottles, all the things, like sterilize, and these children don't have any microbiome. It used to be like, get in the dirt and eat it and like enjoy it, like all of that, and that created microbiome in their gut, and it created a barrier, a protection where they were exposed, and their body could like start fighting it and do all the things and build up their entire immune system.
Yeah.
And when you sterilize all of these babies' things, they have no way to deal with any immune system issues or any, like, there's no microbiome for them. Actually, the children that do the best is children that have dogs in the home. Why? Because the dogs track all that like nastiness and bring it into the home, so they can't escape it. Unfortunately, they would also track lead and mercury, all the other stuff we were telling you to take your shoes off for. So not the greatest in that aspect, but really great in terms
Maybe it's a win in the long
the
haul.
microbiome and all the bugs and all sorts of things. I'm sure parasites would really go there. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, so really stop over sterilizing these things. We've become obsessed with germs, which is crazy. And
the germ theory has been debunked. We're in a different era of understanding bacteria. The germ theory has been debunked as a way. It's like you don't want a sterile environment. You want a good balance, and a way to make sure you're feeding the right bugs is good prebiotics, good probiotics, and no sugar. Most people are on a drip of constant sugar, so they have so much overgrowth of bacteria, SIBO and Candida, that they need antibiotics, and then they completely sterilize, get rid of all of their bugs, and then it takes them 7 years to get some of that healthy biome back in their gut. So that theory, thankfully, we're in an age where the germ theory is being severely questioned, but people still default to it all the time.
I'm going to talk about one more thing that you can do really to start taking action in your home.
And if you're feeling afraid, our goal here wasn't to bring fear, and I realize some of these are very triggering things. And so take a deep breath. You're in maybe another one. There you go. The second, you learned the signature sigh. And just know that don't let that fear shut you down so you don't take action. The quickest way to move out of fear is to take one baby step in the direction of something you learned today that you'll be going in the direction. And then when you'll get some momentum and some motivation and some self-confidence, and you'll create momentum for yourself. But don't let your fear have you default back to the way you were just because I can't deal with it. There's just too much. They just said too many things. Just pick one and focus on it. Right?
Yeah. Exactly. So what's that one tiny action? Everybody on socials, let us know what's that one thing that you're going to take on or that made an impact, so that you're like, whoa, I'm going to take this on right away because I didn't know that this was an impact. So let us know. So the last thing we want to really share about, which has a huge impact, obviously food is a whole huge conversation. We may do another one we're going to do some programs around it, because it's such an in-depth thing to understand these 10,000 chemicals, to understand the code names, to understand what to do or how to avoid it, or how to really really have your health be dynamic. And so it's a lot to unpack, too much to unpack in a conversation, and you're going to hear more and more of it over these coming times. And
you can simplify it with just that.
Yeah. So jerf is one thing, but
if you just
we really
eat real food, you're going to be 80% of the way out of this food problem.
Yeah. That's
any ultra processed food. You just
that
avoid
is
it.
Any food that God made, right? In exactly the form it was delivered in. Did
God make ice cream?
Nope. Nope. But there are ways in which to take what God made and turn it into ice cream, but you'd have to do it yourself. So these, there's these homestead wives, or what are they called?
Stepford wives?
No, there's this new thing where wives are going back to old ways, and they're trying to glamorize it or something. And so everyone's like, who's got the time? I don't think you have to go that far, but there are definitely things you can do.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
If anyone knows what I'm talking about, they're called homesteaders or something. But they're like
Wife swap?
Instagrammers that are glamorizing, kind of making everying from scratch.
Making ice cream from scratch.
Making every, and drinking raw milk and doing things the way our grandmothers did, but which is very time consuming and takes something. And they're glamorizing it, which I don't love. But, there's a lot you can take from these old ways of being to really, but yeah. So if it came from a tree, if it came from an animal, if it, generally it's going to be much better. There's still things that are in that, but that's good. That's going to be your basis. But there's so much more. So it's how to understand all of that.
Yes,
we're going to go deeper
understanding
into that.
organic. And in our programs, we take our folks through several protocols and ways of getting them to getting your food in a place where it's just so delicious. I'm passionate about making real food taste really good.
Yeah.
And so you don't need to go grab a bag of chips if you're satiated, right?
Yeah. And diet's schmias. We don't believe in all that stuff. There's a way in which you can eat, and you can eat delicious, rich, amazing, healthy food, just like they do in the Mediterranean and France and Europe. You know, you can eat all the things, but you have to understand the dynamics of how to eat it. And so that's something that we teach us. If you're like, I just want health to be easy and part of my life, then that's the conversation to come and join us in one of our bigger programs, because that's what we teach people. That's what we're passionate about.
Yep.
The very last one is your beauty care. Right.
Ladies,
men too, right?
What?
So yeah, like whatever.
Andrew sent me some non-toxic
whatever
stuff
you're putting on your face, whatever you're rubbing
anything
into
you
your
do
body,
every day,
whatever you're washing your hair with, whatever you're brushing your teeth with, you know, these are the things that make a huge, huge, huge impact. And so you want to make sure there's you don't want these things in there, because the FDA doesn't regulate mercury, lead, toluene, formaldehyde, parabens, placenta, phthalates, and triclosan. All of those things are toxic, and anything you do regularly, even if you only wash your hair every like once a week or whatever, if you're using parabens, phthalates, all of these toxic chemicals in your shampoos and conditioners, then that's leaching straight into your skull. That is a problem, right? So you want to ensure that the things you're using, and listen, all of the scamminess of the beauty industry of like, oh, you need this and you need this and you need this to be beautiful. It's like it's what you eat and how you move your body as to how much water you drink as to how beautiful you look. No cream can do what those things can do. Like, it just can't. It's your entire lifestyle that makes you radiate beauty, and you can get that back. I've seen some of our clients being gray and sallow and like looking like almost on death's door to being like flushed and vibrant and full again. You know, it is what you do every day that will either make or break you, and will give you beauty or take your beauty away. So really, like, whatever you've been brainwashed into that this particular product does, but then it has all of these chemicals that is actually really harming you, get rid of it. Yeah, man. Get rid of it, and switch out to natural products. There's lots of amazing products that have like, I'm not going to go naming a bunch of them, but they have essential oils that have been known to really improve the body, the skin, all these sorts of things. Oils, they work, all of these. You want something that works with your body system, not like, just like your face has a biome. You don't want to just destroy the oils and the bacteria. You want to find a way, and everyone's a little bit different, but it's like, find something, like I use beef tallow, like on my face. It's an actual cream made from beef tallow, but it's like, what did our ancestors use before all this process of petrochemicals? You want to go find out what was being used, or vegetable oils. You'd probably be further ahead of the game just to put olive oil on your face and your body than all these chemicals. In terms of having your skin, which is your largest organ, your largest detox pathway as well. It's not only your largest way of taking toxins in, it's also your biggest detox. You want to make sure you're sweating and moving your body every day. If you're just sitting inside your house and your house is poisoning you with all these forever chemicals and off-gassing, and you're not getting outside, getting fresh air, moving, it will not be long before you will figure, your body will go, that's enough. I'm gonna present something that you will have to deal with. And it might be something like cancer. So it is, you guys, this is so important. I'm sure we've stressed. I think we've stressed that. If you're having rashes, if you're having pain, if you're having joint pain, like, all of these things are curable and solvable. Forgetting where your keys are, without like just trying to take a pill to like take away the pain. You want to have pain be a guide to what is truly going on. Don't just try and like get rid of it or get back to comfort. Comfort is where everything goes to die. You need to keep getting uncomfortable. You need to keep getting knowledgeable and discovering what's new and what you can do for your body, so that you can live and truly live and have all your faculties switched on and all your body lubricated, working, hiking, dancing, all the things. You want all the things. Let's have all the things. And it's like, it's getting back to basics, and it's getting simple habits and routines that set you up for success. And that's what we do for our clients. So if you're interested in, like, if you're like, this is all amazing and I need help because I have a lot of sabotage in the way. I try something and then I fall off. I do this. Then, like,
we're here for you.
We're here to have a conversation to see if this is something for you. We would love to see you. We would love to know you. We'd love to know what you're dealing with. And we'd love to be a solution for you to be the most vibrant, extraordinary, healthy human being that any of your friends know. I just, like, be the one that changes everyone around you, because you are radiating on such a high frequency that people just want to be around you and they want what you're having.
And I just, before we say goodbye, I want to read a testimonial from one of our folks. I didn't get their permission to use their name. Actually, I did, but I just want to make sure. So listen, I just want to read this to you. Okay, she noticed something with her hair. Her hair is getting darker and thicker. And that was inspiring. But then she went into this. Have you read this? Yes, I sent it to you. Mm-hmm. I have to tell you, I have so much to tell you later, but just about how happy I am. I started listening to this book that I recommended to her, and she was feeling so alive and so excited, and feeling like she's leapt off of a cliff, and she's soaring while praying that the parachute works. And if I hadn't met you, this is one of our clients who is in our advanced program. If I hadn't met you, I would have maybe lost some weight and been able to turn over in my bed, but still not have the strength to get up off the floor, because she had fallen during about a year ago, and might have given up when I was laying on the floor with an arm dangling like it was rubber. She broke her arm. And I am so looking forward to my future. I get happy every time I look at the pictures of me at my 50th high school reunion now.
This is a client that released, I think, over 60.
I'm not sure that
60 pounds in
and gained muscle, and we go by measurements and more so than just weight, but she did release a lot of actual weight and sizes. 65, 70 or something. And it's as if it's the first time in my life that I was proud and happy to be me. Looking at her pictures of herself at her high school reunion, her 50th. The other pictures that get me tingly are the ones in LA. She came to visit us at LA. We had a concert here, and her goals were accomplished. And then she says, and so much more to come. And the cat that I'm sleeping with tonight wants to go to bed. So good night. And at the very bottom here, once again, thank you for believing in me when I didn't. I've been finally visualizing myself with more muscle and pretty, with immense gratitude in love. And then she signed off with her name, so that she's on a hero's journey. And it's just, you guys, we get those. When we get those, it completely just makes everything worthwhile. And our clients that actually do the work have results just like this.
Profound, life-changing, and they get their life back.
Yeah.
And that's what we care about. And if they get their life back, they then impact every single one around them to get their life as well. And so that person has a bunch of nieces that she's impacting, like everybody's, and like, you know, and cousins and all these, you know, children in their life, and they're all seeing this. They're seeing this rapid, huge transformation in a very short space of time, and that makes an impact, especially on the young. So you want to make a big impact, you radically transform yourself, and you become a walking, talking testimonial of what this gorgeous, amazing body, God-given body, can do, and how quickly you can change the story of what it is to age with power and grace. And ease.
That's right. Beautiful. And so if you could do us a huge favor and share this, if you've listened to it and you've enjoyed it and you're like, oh, this ain't for me, but this is for Aunt Maud, maybe leave a review that helps other people discovered this conversation of radical responsibility, instead of blaming somebody for da-da-da, you take responsibility now.
Or being like, I don't know, I'm sick and I don't know what to do. Like, actually,
no pill is going to help you get better. No, tell me one chronic illness that science and research has actually cured.
Yeah.
Like
most of the pills are just maintaining the issue and like keeping it like not from hurting a whole lot, but it doesn't heal. You don't take a bunch of pills.
To get to the root cause of this, you guys, you literally have to become your own, like, in your own sleuth
Detective.
And doctor, in the sense, like, don't give away your doctors, but like, you need to come armed with questions. Like, why am I on 18 pharmaceuticals? Well, some of the folks we start working with are on over 10 pharmaceutical petrochemical drugs, and they're on drugs for the side effects of other ones. They're on a loop. And so I'm like, why are you on that? It's like, because the side effects of that one, and it's a loop. And so sometimes getting off of those starts the brain to defog, and you make better choices too. So, yes. The most important thing you can do right now is to take some action. So instead of just letting it be information and letting it go in one ear and out the other, put it into practice. If you need support, there will be a way through this email that you got to connect with one of us or contact us. But just don't let this, what you just saw and heard, just go into this information overload that we have. Take some steps to start putting it into practice so that you can feel better today. And of course, if you need help, that's what we're here for.